Try not to resist the changes that come your way. Instead, let life live through you. And do not worry that your life is turning upside down or not going the way that you want it to. How do you know that the side you are used to is better than the one that's to come?
We don't rise to the standards we have when others are watching. We fall to the standards we have when no one is watching. The only work that really matters is the work that no one sees. It shows you who you really are rather than who you say you are.
I understand in order to be a master, you have to be a fool at first. And I'm willing, but not many people are willing to go through that journey of being a fool. They want to be the master, but don't want to work through the process.
My advice is that one day you're going to look back on all the things you're currently going through and you're going to be glad they happened. If you have the right mental model, if you change how you think, one day you will look back and be glad they happened. And the most fantastic thing about changing the way you think is, regardless of what people say to you or despite the fact they tell you it's not true, I promise you, one of the only things on the planet you can control is what you think. You can't control the weather, can't control other people, can't control if your heart stops. You can't even keep it beating, but you can control what you think. I'm not saying it's easy, but it can be done. And if you change the way you view things, you change the perspective, you'll be happy that it's happened to you. Sometimes you can have an event or it's like a prism. You can have something and it's all about the perspective you view it from. And I think if you are malleable enough in your mind and disciplined enough to instill the correct software at the correct time to make sure that you're as competitive as possible, you can take any situation or scenario that you're going through and find the positive in it and use it to make you a better person.
Most of the time on this journey, you are going to feel like shit. You are going to be overwhelmed. You are going to be stressed. You are going to be tired. You are going to wonder if it's the right thing. That's most of the time. Reality is it's fucking hard. Reality is it's going to take everything you got. Reality is if you don't have a big old chip on your shoulder that you could draw from and then have it push you down the road, you're not going to fucking make it. So when you look around and you start feeling bad because these people are criticizing you, because these people are attacking you, because these people are doubting you, I challenge you to flip the perspective to one where you're thankful for that. Because eventually you'll become so successful, you won't have people doubting you anymore. You won't have people criticizing you like that. You won't have people that don't believe. And you won't have that fuel. And you wish you did.
I wish more people were more gentle with themselves and more forgiving. You don't have a lot of people in life that are gonna come and fight for you. It bothers me to my core when I see people just be negative on themselves, be hard on themselves, not be a fan of themselves. And I get it, like you understand the imperfections of your own life, but if you're not a fan of yourself, nobody's gonna be a fan of you. If you don't fight for yourself, nobody's gonna fight for you. It really bothers me, the victim mentality that people have regarding themselves. And if you can escape that victim mentality, you can tap into the opposite side, which is hope. And it's understanding that you can become an extremely better person.
It is absolutely your duty to become what it is you were meant to become that version of you that lives deep inside your heart, that only you know about, that you are too afraid to even tell people about because you think you're gonna get laughed at. That version of you is who you were born to be.
People don't experience life. They experience the life they focus on.
Right.
So right now, if you're happy, you are deleting all the things you could be pissed off about or frustrated or worried about in the world. Yeah. If you're unhappy, you're deleting all the things that are great in your life.
Wow.
And our brains delete and they distort and they generalize. So if you don't direct it, you get whatever shows up. What's wrong is always available. What's wrong in the world, it's always available. What's right is also available. It's just which one you pick.
I tell young men, it's like, find something difficult to do. You need that. You're not built for comfort or pleasure. Like if that comes along, good. You know, if you have a day where you're comfortable and there's some things around you that give pleasure, have some sense and enjoy it. But don't be thinking that's what your life is aimed at. That's contemptible. Everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. And if they orient themselves in that hedonistic direction, there's nothing in it but shame.
And let me tell you something else. The comfort zone is dangerous. When you're comfortable, you are at most danger. The comfort zone is somewhere you should never feel comfortable. You should be happy and dissatisfied. Anybody ever tell you, hey, look, you know what? Just be satisfied with what you got. Don't believe them. Get them away from you. You should never be satisfied with what you got. Because the attempt to get more makes you into something better all the time. Don't let anybody tell you, hey, man, you should just be happy with. No, you should double your business. Triple it.
Because I think that people have been told for a while that oh, if you're feeling sad, there's something wrong with you. When I actually don't think there's anything wrong with when you feel sad. You feel sad? Yeah, you lost friends. You're gonna feel sad. Oh, you were in combat. You had to do some horrible things. You did some things that you regret. There's nothing wrong with that. People make mistakes. Things don't turn out the way that they wanted them to. We made decisions and there was a bad result at the end of that decision. And instead of thinking, oh, I'm a terrible person, no, it's like you made a mistake and that's okay and you gotta move on.
You gotta be willing to do the work. You can speak about it all day. The easiest thing in the world to do is to complain, blame, and quit and settle. That's the easiest thing in the world to do. But it takes real work to deconstruct and to reconstruct the thought process and the mindset of an individual when they're trying to change something. That's why I always say to people, what's more important? What we acquire or who we become, right? What's more important, what we acquire or who we become? Materialistic, superficial, it's cool. But the people that we become, the thoughts we think, the words we speak, that's something that's gonna travel with us forever.
You like your current state enough that you like the pain of change thing, right? Like, you're not in enough pain. I've said that to plenty of people who go speak and someone's like, how do I get motivated? I'm like, you're not gonna get motivated. Like, you have to hate. For me, I automatically go there. I'm like, you have to hate something. Like, for me, I just hated my current existence. And so for me, that was powerful enough to get me out.
There's no difference between responsibility and adventure. That's a killer thing to know. The heavier the responsibility, the more profound the adventure. And so everyone knows that, but it's not catalyzed, eh? And so I've been suggesting to young men in particular, it's like, you want to get your life together? Take the path of maximal responsibility. Not because you should, even though you should. That's not why. It's because that's the pathway of maximal adventure. So you say, well, what's the meaning of life? It's like, it's the meaning that reveals itself when you take the pathway of maximal responsibility.
If life was nothing but green lights and we didn't have yellows and reds, things that make us pause, hardships, crises, times for introspection, then what the hell would it all be for? We need the yellows and the reds. That's how we evolve. That's how hopefully there's some ascension to our being. That's how we give some credit to time and growing older. If we were the same person today that we were 20 years ago, then what the hell are we doing?
Everything worthwhile is uphill. And today's word is uphill. You see, every dream that you've ever had, it's all uphill. If you have a great relationship with somebody, you had to work on it. It's uphill. If you've built a wonderful business, guess what? It was uphill. If you've made the right decisions, they're not easy, are they? It's uphill. And the only way that you can go uphill is to be intentional. Nobody ever accidentally went uphill. You've never talked to a successful person and said, how did you get to the top of the mountain? And then look at you and say, I have no idea. If they're at the top of the mountain, they know how they got there. Because they had to have effort. It took energy. It took time. Everything worthwhile is uphill.
Your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Think about every poor decision you've made in your life. There was more emotion that was involved in it than there was mind. Every single one of them. Think about it. Really was. Your feelings keep you in bed. Your mind tells you, get up. Every single day, your mind is the one that tells you, get up. And your feelings like, an extra 30 minutes, just roll this. Don't worry about it. And your mind has to be stronger than your feelings. Listen, it's not the popular decision. You are gonna hurt. You are gonna piss a lot of people off. Yep. All right. Are you gonna piss them off for the short term? Or are you gonna piss them off for the long term?
You have to hit rock bottom. That's the way up. Yeah, rock bottom is beautiful. The struggle of coming back is beautiful. That struggle. It doesn't appear like it's beautiful while you're going through it. You're being tested. And without a test, there's no testimony.
Just do things. And if you like it, you'll probably be better at that than anything else you choose to do. Because you will invest even your downtime doing it. And as the saying goes, pick something you would do for free and make that your career, and you'll never live a sad day in your life.
The master key to riches is self-discipline. And what we have found is that the most successful people have come to that conclusion as well, is that self-discipline is the master key to success. So for you to write down your goals and make a plan and set priorities and start with your most important task takes tremendous self-discipline. If you haven't done it up to now, it's so hard. But Goethe said everything is hard before it's easy. And everything at the beginning is difficult, but later it becomes easy and automatic. You have to force yourself to discipline yourself at the beginning, but after that, it becomes easier and easier, and you actually feel happy.
A lot of people may consider things toxic when they initially start out, but then when you see the end result, or when your career's over with, or when you're with a different organization, you look at it and say, you know what, I really missed that. I give an example of flowers. When you gift roses, or you're gifted roses, or any types of flowers, they cut the thorns off because the thorns, are prickly and so forth. Well, when you cut the thorns off a rose, you decrease its lifespan. So a lot of individuals that have been thorns in your life have actually allowed you to propel to places that you would never be able to propel before. And you don't miss it until that thorn is no longer there.
You need to work on yourself. If you just try to be pampered, and if you're trying to be soft, and if you're trying to be the victim and all stuff, you're not going to go anywhere. We need to get stronger. We need to get ballsier. We need to get tougher. We need to not be afraid of failure. We got to go into the work. We got to face adversity. Adversity breeds character. It's strength and fighting and resistance. It does not only make the muscle grow, but it makes also your head grow, makes you a stronger person. We have to be willing to go through hardship, through suffering, through pain, through crying periods. All of that stuff, don't shy away from any of that, because it just makes you stronger.
Why not just do it over and over again until you have it perfect? But the fact is, you don't get that chance. You get one shot at this gig right here. Life, one life. That's all you've got. And regret, in and of itself, it's worthless. It does nothing for you. In fact, the only valuable thing in regret is the lesson you learned, the knowledge that you gained. Don't let regret beat you down. Don't be a slave to regret. No, let it teach you. Let it make you better. Let the fear of regret fuel you to take action today. Now.
Well, sometimes that's what a person needs, something that they can dedicate themselves towards, because they don't feel like they have anything and there's no direction. They don't know what to do, and they just, that old expression, idle hands are the devil's playground, that's real.
That's real.
That's real.
That's very real.
Yeah. If you don't have a purpose in life, and you don't have a direction that you feel like you should be going in, you feel so lost, and you can get sucked into all kinds of things, and you're filled with anxiety, and so then you escape with drugs. You're trying to find something to make you feel better because you just don't feel good and you feel like a loser. The only thing that makes you feel good is accomplishing things, having a family, having loved ones, having friends, having a community, but accomplishing things too. All those are the only things that make you feel better in life.
There's a story in the Bible where Solomon is dreaming. He goes into dream state, and God comes to him in dream state, and God says to Solomon, anything that you want, I will give you. If you want wealth, I'll give you wealth. I'll make you the richest man. If you want kingdoms, I'll give you the kingdoms. Tell me whatever it is that you want and I'll give it to you. And Solomon didn't ask for riches, didn't ask for kingdoms. He asked for one thing. He said, give me wisdom. And God gave him wisdom. And after that, the riches came, the kingdoms came, and every other thing that comes with it. So as I read that, I sat there and I was like, God, give me wisdom. I don't know what it looks like. I don't know what this means, but give me wisdom and allow me to be a person that makes decisions, not out of spontaneity, not out of reactiveness or out of emotion, but out of a state of mind in which I can be wise. And from that, everything else will come. So my relationship with God is now a pursuit of truth and a pursuit of wisdom.